po ba?
For 2018, only one, Your Honor. That was in previous years. From 2000 to 2018, Sec Esperon mentioned several MSRs conducted in Philippine waters by our foreign researchers.
Ba't na?
China, 2 or 3 MSRs throughout that period.
What years po yun? Just to be clear, no? So, my understanding was there are 2 permits given this year.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Secretary?
No, that was from 2000 to 2018. China applied for 18. This is for the Philippine Rise and Luzon Strait. That's between between Philippines and Taiwan. China applied for 18, but they were granted 2.
Okay.
One of them would be, and in Philippine waters, other Philippine waters, it would be a total of 25 applications and 3 granted.
Opo. Yung dalawang...
let me just clarify, Mr. Chair, Honor, that for every MSR that is approved, it's mandatory that they are supposed to our scientific team, our own team. Otherwise, they will not conduct this.
Pero nasabi na po na hindi naman ho mga Philippine.
Which one?
3 days lang.
The latest. The application was some July
Of 2017.
And it was approved in January. At that time, they were supposed to begin 30 days MSR, but just after talk in our science, they
Yes.
for including that it was already Chinese New Year.
Kailangan
ng bumalik.
Okay.
So, but it would have been to our advantage to join them for 30 days. But what can we do? They have already, they wanted to sail back.
Secretary, no, just to be clear, it's UPMSI na nagsabing hindi sila sasakay ng buong voyage, no? Kayo po yung nagsabing hindi kayo sasakay.
Opo. Kasi most of the work that they did was east of our EEZ.
So hindi naman pasok sa ating
Hindi pasok
EEZ.
sa atin. So they'll only stay within Philippine EEZ for a total of 6 days.
But even in those 6 days, you were only present for 3 days.
Opo. Mahirap po kasi mag-transfer ng tao sa
I understand, no? But Secretary, hindi ba in the interest of national security, hindi ho ba nararapat lang na kung may foreign ship in our EEZ, siguro naman dapat may nakasakay na Pilipino?
Yeah, before the permit was approved, they were in fact sailing east of the Philippines, beyond our EEZ.
Pag nasa EEZ na, hindi ho ba lang na meron
They
tayong...
are on MSR.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a condition the permit.
Well, in this case, condition was not fulfilled. Kasi tatlong ang po ng ating Filipino scientist.
Nung ibinaba yung scientist natin, umalis na rin sila.
Hindi, tuloy po sila. 6 na araw po silang nag-research, pero 3 araw. Although, I will admit, no, it was the choice of UPMSI. But even then, it was only 3 out of 6 days. No? Correct, Doctor?
Opo. And siguro po, as earlier, in July, they got their approval December na. The cruise was so also need some time to prepare. And the MSR approved. The ship was already at sea. So may logistic
Sorry,
problems.
by the time the approved, punta na dito yung barko.
Opo. Kasi continuous yung research vessel.
Kumbaga po, dadaan lang sa ating bansa.
Opo.
Okay. Ano naman kasi tayo eh. May handa yung scientist natin. Ipapos, it's our prerogative of the MSR. ASEC, tama ho ba, kondisyon na dapat meron tayong Filipino representatives on the boat?
Yes, Your Honor, we have guidelines in the conduct of MSR.
Oh, but it's not fulfilled ito na
When Dr. Villanoy informed us a few days before the start of the MSR that he will not be able to board the vessel, we had to put together him to participate in the research to be conducted in the Chinese vessel.
Yes, but even then, ASEC, 3 out of 6 days, wala pa ring Filipino representative on these boats.
Let me explain, Your
Yes,
Honor.
please.
So there were 4 scientists, Filipino scientists, 3 women and 1 male scientist, 2 from UPMSI, 1 from NAMRIA, and 1 from PCG, Philippine Coast Guard. And as agreed, the embarkation point was to be in the EZ, Exclusive Economic Zone, but it was a low pressure area, LPA in the area. So our authorities deemed it best that our scientists be picked up at Port Irene.
Yes.
So we issued a diplomatic clearance for the Chinese vessel Koshihao to dock at Port Irene to pick up our scientists. So nabawasan na po siguro yung araw pag-pick up and then this embarkation point also at Port Irene.
But ASEC, and maybe the Navy can confirm this, no? I just want to be clear. And this is just the facts, no? I just want to be clear in this particular case. Sabi ho nila Dr. Siring at Villanoy, only 3 out of 6 days doon pong Pilipino, doon po sa barko nung gumawa sila ng MSR. And permit is the Filipinos on the boat at all times. Nasunod yung permit po ninyo. I mean, that's a fact, no? Are we disputing that, ASEC? That's not in dispute anymore.
No, Your Honor.
Alright, so anong gagawin natin na nagbigay nga tayo ng permit, hindi naman nasunod yung permit natin? Kasi my question is this, no? And babalik tayo dito sa nabanggit ni Professor J na honor and pride. Pag hindi tayo handa, edi papospone mo sila. Gano'n ba kahirap yun? Sabihin mo ng research dito sa ating bansa. Bumalik kayo pag ready na kami. Kasi it's our sovereign right, no? I mean, that's, for me, yun yung pinaka-basic doon. Natin yan eh. Kung di tayo handa, kung hindi handa yung UPMSI, papalakin natin 2 weeks in 1 month. Hindi naman ho aalis yung Philippine Rise, di ba? So, nangyari na ho to. What is the permit was not fulfilled? Action of, for example, matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, let me state that under clause, Part 13 on Marine Scientific Research, or MSR, it starts with a statement that all states have the MSR subject to the rights and duties of the coastal state. So, in the territorial sea, it should be express consent. In the EEZ and continental shelf, it should be there should be consent from the state. Also, in clause and there are if the conditions set out in the MSR with foreign research and institution of the coastal state are not, it can be a denial of consent to your MSRs that particular institution.
Alright. So sinasabi ho ninyo pwedeng ma-deny in the future dahil hindi po sumunod sa permit. That's what you're saying. Okay. Did we information IOCA or to the Chinese government that the permit was not followed? Meron ho bang incident report mula sa DFA?
The issue of the discrepancies in the conduct of MSR by Koshihao with Philippine partners was discussed at the bilateral consultations mechanism held last February 13 here in Manila between the Philippines and China.
So napag-usapan naman po. Was there an agreement that starting now, the permit or the conditions laid out by the Philippine government will be followed? Meron ho bang recognition of that?
Yes, Your Honor. We stress that all MSRs to be conducted by them in Philippine waters should have Philippine consent, and that the terms and conditions laid out in the note verbal approving the conduct of the research should be followed.
Alright. May ano po ba tayo? Strike 3 policy? Ano po bang policy natin dyan? Hindi po sumunod once, twice, i-deny, or kada panahon ano ho, magbe-bend backwards tayo. Ano ho ba yung rule natin dyan, Secretary? Is there a rule at all on this matter?
Mr. Chair, we now have, the current setup is, we now have the interagency technical working group. But now, there will be an added layer to that before and their report goes to the President for approval, or to the Office of the President. There is now an added check on that. I will receive their recommendations.
Hindi ho kayo nag-approve, it's the President who approves?
Office of the President.
Okay, so you are only you're just managing the information?
That is the new setup now that was given by the President last February 5.
Okay, so you're saying po na sa mga susunod na mga panahon, it is the Office of the President who will approve it and not as originally reported na kayo po?
Yeah. In fact, the interagency technical working group had several meetings after that, and they will come out with an executive order to define the limits and all the other parameters for approving MSRs. So after they have made the recommendations, this will come to me, then I will transmit with my recommendations to the Office of the President.
So in short po, bubuuin pa yung framework. Kasi right now, wala pa talagang hard and set rule on the framework of approving MSRs.
No, they had been in existence since 2008.
Okay. But baka baguhin?
I-review lang natin. Then, patitibayin, dahil nga napakaraming gustong mag-research sa atin, which is not really bad if they want to help us in our research job.
Well,
but
okay.
we have to put this under some regulations and restrictions so that the benefits will come to us. We will get all the benefits, plus we are able to look after our national interest in these maritime domains.
Well, ito, Secretary, let me be honest with you. Hindi naman to magiging concern kung wala naman pong infraction on the western side. Correct, no? Kung wala naman, if there were no, well, if the President himself said military bases, if there were no military bases on the western side, I don't think we would be as concerned here on the eastern side. I mean, to be very honest, no? But there are competing interests on the western side. That's why medyo mas nakakabahala ho talaga itong eastern side, no? So, at least maganda ho, nabanggit nga name dito, guys, magkakaroon tayo ng mas striktong framework, striktong condition po sa pagpasok sa ating teritoryo. Let me ask, no? Previous years, IOCAS has gone in territory with us. Babanggit niyo po ba yan dun sa bilateral meeting ninyo na in previous years, pumapasok po sila kahit wala silang permit?
Yes, sir. We discussed it in the TWG, and during the bilateral consultations mechanism, it was stressed that all MSRs...
Ma'am, before that, let me just acknowledge Senator Zubiri who provided quorum for today. Maraming salamat po. Thank you, sir.
We're hearing on the BBM.
Yes.
Tapos na namin yung committee report.
Another hearing on territory, no? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Please continue. So, napag-uusapan naman po openly.
Opo, sir.
Ano po yung reaksyon nila?
Yes, they didn't object at all. And
so they said that they went into our territory without the necessary permits. Cayetano, or the chair of the Philippine delegation during the bilateral consultations mechanism, would be very pleased to sit down with you and discuss it during an
executive session.
During an executive session, Secretary, were you present in those meetings?
BCM, which one?
Sorry, karoon ng meeting. Secretary, in previous years, IOCAS has entered into our territory without permits. At nakikita ho natin yan, no, this is what Professor Jay showed us, dito ho sa website nila.
For one, one ship, if I get it right, conducted MSR in our area in 2004.
Yes, permit.
It did not go through the process. They had no permit. So that ship, in fact, as a result of that research, they filed for naming of names, and this is now, those were filed in May 2016.
Opo.
2016.
So, in short, there is a recognition that they had gone into our territory na wala pong permit in the past.
Yes,
so,
but at the time they were doing it, we did not know it for reasons of our capacity and capabilities to monitor the area. So,
yes. In fact, sila mismo yung nagsabi na nakapasok sila because on their website, and this is currently the website of IOCAS, they refer to, is this Professor Dent? Drones? So what are these cars that we see on the screen?
This instrument platform, they had instruments that they anchored to the shelf.
In what year? 2004?
Surigao. That they have already in a journal article out.
So in short, publish pa yung ng kanilang research dito. So I don't want to belabor the point, no, but napag-usapan that in the past, pumapasok po sila na wala hong permit sa ating bansa. But in that bilateral agreement, there was a recognition that in the past they had gone into our territory na hindi po pinapaalam sa atin. At least that was raised, ASEC. Up to that point, you will agree. On the mic, please, for the record.
Yes, Your Honor.
So,
it was
napag-usapan.
raised, and the conclusion was, from the Philippine side, we stressed that henceforth,
No more.
all MSRs by China in Philippine waters should have the consent of the Philippines.
Okay, and Secretary, as head of our national security, you don't see any concerns na noon pumapasok na wala akong permiso, pero ngayon nag-agree na?
The matter of concern, we are very much concerned, especially if we look at the resources that we have. Sabi nga ni Philippine Navy Rear Admiral Kagawan, we have sufficient but limited capability. Ganon din naman ang Northern Luzon Command, who commands the naval assets in the north. Limited capability. Ganon din naman sa Philippine Air Force, may kulang pa rin because it's really a vast area. So ano ang gagamitin natin dito? Kailangan natin ang tulong ng Coast Guard, kailangan ng Fisheries, kailangan din nating madagdagan yung researchers natin. Lahat, from DOST and from the academy. Kailangan na nila makipag-tie up. That is why we have been saying all along that the conduct of research should not just be by us because of the resources that we have. Kaya sila mismo nagsasabi na nakikipag-tie up sila sa ibang mga grupo. And then that's where the MSR applications will come in. And then parang binabalikan natin, mayroon ba kayong taong magbo-board? Pero tanungin mo ang MSI, 7 lang sila doon eh.
No, to be clear, no, sila ho yung nagsabing hindi sila makakapag-board. No? That was it came from them. No?
Bakit ganon? Nakukunti lang ang ating mga marine biologists or geologists na nag-engage dyan. Maaring wala silang incentive dahil wala nga tayong masyadong ginagawang research. So, magbigay tayo ng funding sa research, siguro maraming pupunta dyan. Scholarships.
Yes, Secretary. And I think that hopefully that will be the output of the hearing, no? Na mas pupondohan po natin yung ating marine research. But, sorry, just to finish this point, hindi ho naging issue sa national security or sa DFA na meron pong paglabag sa ating mga sa ating teritoryo noon na kumbaga ang naging usapan na lang, let's just move forward. Parang ganyan po yung nangyari, ASEC Lourdes.
Of course, Your Honor, it is a cause for concern because we want foreign research institutions to observe our guidelines in the conduct of MSR. But during the discussions of the TWG, our scientists also said that this is a good MSR, that they would consider prior obligations unmet, which can be a reason to deny consent, to be considered in the conduct of future MSRs.
All right. So in short, what you're saying is we will look at the past, we will look at the one in January na merong paglabag dun sa mga conditions, and from there we will determine if there will be future MSRs.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
May I ask, si Rear Admiral Kagawan seems like he wants to say something. No? Baka ho, may gusto ko po kayong i-share ngayong hapong ito. Maybe just a perspective from the Navy.
From the Navy side, Your Honor, we're trying our best as a force provider to give the necessary assets to the unified commands, especially in this case for Benham Rise, to the Northern Luzon Command. Like I said, with limited assets that we have and the different operational tempo that the unified commanders have to address, we do try our best to provide the resources for NOLCOM as well as enhance our interagency collaboration to monitor the eastern side.
No one is questioning that, no? I think we're all very supportive there, Rear Admiral. Namomonitor niyo po ba? Hindi lang po China, pero meron ho bang mga barko na gumagawa ng research, exploration, and so on and so forth, na wala pong permiso sa ating bayan? Is that happening now? Or are all of the boats currently in the Philippine Rise, meron pong tamang permit mula sa ating bayan?
Usually, there's an SOP, Your Honor. Those who would like to conduct MSR in any part of our country, they seek clearance to the Department of Foreign Affairs, and the Navy, the Armed Forces and your Navy is being informed about that.
No, my question is, meron bang, kasi syempre, pag may MSR, alam nyo yung barko, di ba? Sasabihin sa inyo, meron tayong inaprubuhan MSR, this vessel is allowed to be there. Meron po ba kayong namomonitor na mga ibang barko na wala pong tamang permit mula sa ating bansa?
When we monitor a particular vessel, Your Honor, not really conducting MSR1, but if we monitor any vessel with no diplomatic clearance, the SOP, Mr. Chairman, is we report it immediately to the higher headquarters, as well as inform the National Task Force West Philippine Sea on the presence of any foreign vessel which has no diplomatic clearance.
But they're allowed to pass through.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so kung nagpa-park, no, I mean, for lack of a better term, I don't anchor, is that the correct term?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, obviously kung naka-anchor ka, hindi ka lang passing through.
That's correct, Your
So
Honor.
meron ho ba kayo na monitor na mga barko na naka-anchor na wala pong permiso mula sa DFA?
There are situations that we monitor those kind of
Okay.
ships.
Are these also limited, or I don't know if I don't think you want to disclose numbers today, no, Your Admiral, but you can confirm that there are.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ito po ba'y, ang dami nito ay nakakabahala na po ba o katanggap-tanggap po sa inyo?
Well, I would say, Your Honor, that the numbers are not that many.
Okay.
But what I can say is that once we monitor any vessel which has no diplomatic clearance to
Be there, na naka-anchor.
to stop within our waters, then we have to report it right away.
Okay. Not that many. So, pwede po yung not that many 5, pwede pong not that many 50. Mas malapit ba sa 5 o mas malapit sa 50? 5, okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anong bansa po ito? O ayaw nyo rin pong sabihin?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
sa territorial waters natin ay they could not sail within our territorial waters without our expressed permit. But beyond the 12 nautical miles, meron ng freedom of navigation dyan.
Sir, ang pinag-uusapan po yung nag-anchor.
Yeah, yung nag-anchor, mayroon tayong mga gadgets ngayon, sistemas. The Bureau, the National Coast Watch Center has a system that could monitor that. But as we have said, when these ships turn off their AIS, their advanced identification system, then we could not monitor them for that period. But we can get their historical...
Kumbaga may mga butas doon sa kanilang pathway, no?
Ganun pa man, makukuha natin yon pag natapos yung period na yon. So, what do we do if there are ships like those?
What do we do is the question.
Well, we can send out additional patrols. Philippine Air Force, makikita mo, pag nagtabi yung dalawang barko, may ibig sabihin yun. Lalo na kung depende rin sa kulay ng barko. Kasi kung parehong puti, ibig sabihin nun, Coast Guard. Kung puti, Coast Guard.
Kung gray?
Kung gray, ibig sabihin, military yan.
So, from the, is that AIDT?
AIS.
AIS. From the AIS, so pinapatay po yan, no? Pero alam natin kung sino sila.
Makukuha din natin yon. Makukuha natin yung data na yun. Mayroon tayong makukuha.
Is this an ongoing issue, Rear Admiral, or ito po ay pinag-uusapan natin historical? Or until today, may ganyang issue ngayon sa Philippine Rise? Yes, Lieutenant General. Salamat.
Your Honor, thank you for the privilege. I'm sitting here as the commander of the Northern Luzon Command, responsible for the conduct of joint and interagency operation in order to protect our national territory and preserve our national sovereignty. So we have the Navy, Air Force, and the Army assets provided to us to be able to do that mandate. And aside with that, Sir, Your Honor, the NOLCOM also, under the function of the National Task Force Western Philippine Sea, the Northern Luzon Command is designated as the Area Task Force North. So, meaning we cover the maritime domain or covering the Bajo de Masinloc, the Luzon Strait, and the Philippine Rise. Notably, sir, the maritime areas in the north is located in the main shipping route, in particular the Luzon Strait. And in fact, almost a third of the global crude oil, all over the half of the global liquefied natural gas passes through the shipping routes in the Luzon Strait. So marami po tayong namomonitor na vessels in the north.
Na dumadaan.
Sa because
legally dumadaan po.
Dumadating sa atin. So notably, the strait is located on the main shipping route. Kaya kung sinasabi natin maraming dumadaan dyan, marami pong dumadaan dyang shipping vessels. And kasama na dito yung mga other vessels na maritime research vessels ng other countries like China.
Sir, let me ask, yung nag-a-anchor or kumbaga dumadaan point A to point B, dadaanan yung ating teritoryo, gaano ho katagal yun usually? Is that 3 hours, 4 hours, yung usually na dumadaan sa ating territory with sovereign rights? Or mabilis lang po ba yung pagdaan ng mga ships usually?
Depende kasi sa tracking monitoring natin. May mga others na nag-stay for a longer period, merong hindi na dire-diretso.
Yung nagsistay, ano pong ginagawa nila? Are they doing maintenance? Or are they already doing research without our permission? O ano ba usually yun po?
Wala tayong record kung ano yung ginagawa nila except that they have been loitering around in our waters.
Okay, yung loitering, no? Illegal po ba yung mag-loitering sa waters ho natin? Or pasok po ba yung dun sa pwedeng gawin ng mga barko because it is not part of our territorial waters?
Depende po.
So loitering ibig sabihin paikot-ikot po sila doon sa Philippine Rice, no? Ano bang ginagawa nila doon?
Meron tayong mga suspicious activity na masasabi na ginagawa nila.
And are these, I'm sorry, are these drugs? Are these smuggling? Or what are these? Pag nandun po sila?
Wala po tayong record. Basta sabihin lang natin, when they loiter around, that is a suspicious activity doing within our waters.
And monitor po natin yan on a day-to-day basis.
Meron tayo po.
So, for the past year, for example, the committee can ask you and your task force, ilang barko ang paikot-ikot sa Philippine Rice na walang permiso at mukhang hindi naman ginagamit lang yung lugar para dumaan?
This has been provided to the National Task Force on Western Philippines.
Alright. So, we will request that, sir, no? Have we identified kung anong mga barko ito? Like, may mga calls, is the term call sign or the ship name? What do we call it, sir? May tawag ho doon, di ba? Ano po yung tawag doon? Sa pangalan ng barko? Call sign. Okay. So, may call sign po yung bawat barko na yan. So, meron tayong record po niyan.
Some that has monitored with AIS identification po.
So, may call sign po yun, di ba? So, masasabi ho natin, so historically, malalaman po natin anong mga bansa po yan, anong ginagawa nila. Does DFA write to these countries and inform them that there are these ships in our territory na hindi ho dapat nandoon? Or to inquire man lang kung ano po yung ginagawa nila? ASEC?
If the Navy informs us that there are vessels loitering in our waters in violation of the right of freedom of navigation or innocent passage in the territorial sea, then of course our geographic offices concerned, if it's a French vessel, for example, or whatever, will have to decide on whether to take diplomatic action and convey a diplomatic protest.
So, hindi po siya automatic na meron po tayong that we inform the other countries that they have ships in our territory that are suspicious?
We call it diplomatic action. It can come in a note verbal, which is a diplomatic protest. It can be discussed in bilateral meetings. We have joint political consultations with so many countries. So with the U.S., for example, we have the MDB, SEB, Mutual Defense Board, and the Security Engagement Board. So there are forums also to discuss these issues of concern to us.
All right. But if we had the ships, we would just go to them and check kung anong ginagawa nila. Is that correct, Rear Admiral or Lieutenant General Salamat?
As long as we have the capability to do that.
So we do. Pinupuntahan po ng mga ships natin yung mga tinatawag nating loitering.
As I said, subject to limitations in capabilities. But if you see suspicious ships there, then it is just prudent for us to send out patrols.
So, okay, Secretary, sa mga napadalahan po natin ng patrol, anong ginagawa nila sa ating teritoryo?
Well,
I mean, in general, you don't have to speak.
in general, depende sa klase ng barko. Kung fishing boat yan, edi
nangingisda sila.
Nangingisda, dumadaan.
Pwede hong mangisda dyan, di ba? Na walang permiso na, tama ho ba? Ang pangingisda ba kailangan ng permiso ng Pilipinas?
If they are within our EEZ, then they have to
ask permission.
permission.
Okay. So, potentially po, mga nangingisda na hindi humingi ng permiso. Ano pa pong mga ginagawa po nila?
Well, there could be cases that they are into illegal things, like probably drugs or smuggling.
So, there have been cases na may nakitaan po tayo dyan?
Over the years.
Over the years.
Pag may nakita kang dalawang tanker na nagtabi niyan, may ginagawa yan.
Smuggling of oil.
Yeah.
Or ano. So this happens in the Philippine Rice.
That could happen. Not in the Philippine Rice. Anywhere in the within.
But sa Philippine Rice po mismo, usually kung may suspicious po dyan, usually ang, kunyari, kung nagpapatrol po tayo dyan, sabi ni Secretary General Salamat, Anong na-monitor ho natin na may mga pumapasok na bansa na wala pong permiso?
Meron tayo.
Are we talking about years ago or are we talking about this year?
Meron din pong mga previous years po.
This year lang po. Kasi iba na yung patakaran eh, 'di ba? Meron na pong bilateral. This year, meron pa po bang mga right now, for example, meron po bang mga nandyan na nagre-research na wala pong permiso sa atin?
Sa ngayon, wala tayo. Ngayon.
As of January, February?
Yung previous months, meron tayong mga
hanggang 2017?
2017.
Alright. Okay. Dr. Villanoy and Dr. Siringan, I think, have a presentation. May wish to present.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. Well, malaki yung karagatan natin. So, para lang po magkaroon ng konting kaalaman sa MSI. So, we are a degree-granting institute. Graduate program lang po ang ino-offer natin. Sa ngayon, meron po kaming 19 na full-time faculty. Wala po kaming part-time. Pero may 2 na papasok nitong Agosto 2018. The program of MSI is divided into 4. Meron po kaming marine biology, 11 sa 19 na faculty ang naka-assign sa marine bio. Sa marine physical science, 6 na faculty. So yun pong nababanggit kanina ng mga naglalayag, mostly nandito po sa grupo na ito. At meron kaming 5 faculty sa marine biotechnology at yung pong full complement namin. But we're also running a professional masters in tropical marine ecosystems management. Kaya po yung time nung 19 na present na faculty, divided po yan sa 4 na programa na yan. Okay? Nagtuturo kami, nagre-research kami, may extension work din kami. Okay? Next, please. So, malaki yung ating EEZ, no? At saka yung ating extended continental shelf. As mentioned earlier, ang EEZ po natin, that's almost 2 million square kilometers. Philippine area natin, land-water ratio is roughly around 1:6. So, but in terms of the actual seafloor area, kung uunatin natin yung lahat ng crenulations sa seafloor, aabot yan sa pwedeng 1:7 yung ratio sa seafloor. Pwede nating tingnan nito, hindi pala pwede. Ito yung katotohanan bale na yung malawak na karagatan offers us vast resources. Next, please. We also host the richest concentration of marine biodiversity on Earth. Okay. Next, please. But at the same time, we look at this as resource, but the ocean can be a source as well of some hazards. You can have large waves that can be generated within that vast ocean. And these large waves can then propagate towards the Philippines. Halimbawa ay mga malalaking alon kapag tagbagyo o kaya malalaking alon kung may tsunami. And the tsunamis can be generated across the Pacific and can travel all the way to the Philippines. Next, please. Meron tayo mga local features, yung mga maitim sa mapa, those are trenches. Madami tayong mga fault, pwede rin ito sa offshore areas. Ang Benham Bank is an old volcano. The seamounts named by the Chinese are also old volcanoes. They're not unique. There are many such features in the Philippines that have yet to be explored. We have steep slopes, yung continental shelf, and then beyond that, steep siya. Pwede silang bumagsak, parang landslide, pwedeng makagenerate ng tsunami. We also have problems of eutrophication. Yan bale, yung sobra naman ang nutrient at may mga lugar din na napakakonte ng dissolved oxygen sa tubig. And these are becoming common in shallow embayments and also in deep basins. So there is this important work that needs to be done. We need to look at the potential hazards posed by these features to coastal communities and the infrastructures along the coastal areas. Next, please. Malaki yung EEZ natin, but we are in a good position to undertake research in this area. Even gusto namin i-emphasize even beyond our waters and contribute to the global effort to understand our planet. Next, please. So we're proposing this initial coverage of a Philippine marine science research agenda. Una, studies that are focused on resources, biological and novel compounds. Biological, kasama po dito yung mga isda na kinukuha natin, mga nahuhuli natin sa blue water environments. Novel compounds from organisms that are living on the seafloor that can be explored. As mentioned earlier, madami pong pwedeng makuha mula sa mga marine organisms, kasama yung mga gamot sa sakit sa puso. Meron ding mga mineral resources, petroleum that's already known in the West Philippine Sea. In the East Philippine Sea, it is suspected that we may have metal resources and perhaps even gas hydrates. And then we have, of course, for energy. Hazard studies that will have to be done, geological hazards. Imapa natin nasaan yung mga active faults sa labas, nasaan yung mga bulkan natin na nasa marine environment. We are surrounded by a vast ocean, and ito yung source ng ulan, ito yung source ng malalakas na hangin, and we need to study the interaction between the atmosphere and the ocean. And then we also have, of course, this transboundary pollution issues that we'll have to address. Malaking kakulangan natin sa ocean technology. Kung gusto nating mapag-aralan ng dagat, kailangan tayong mag-invest sa ocean technology. And initially, we can gear the research towards the production of equipment for marine science studies. Next, please. For the Philippine Rise, these are some questions that can be addressed in the next few years. Ano ba yung role ng Benham Bank sa food security ng Northeast Luzon Seaboard? Sa lugar na yon, base sa mapa ng BIFAR, andun yung concentration ng mga economically important na fish. Bakit nandun sila? And our hypothesis is that, well, because the Benham Bank is there, that can provide food for the zooplankton, which eventually will become food for the small fish, which is also food for the big fish, which is what we want. Nabanggit kanina, yung ocean current across the Pacific from the US, continental US side, papunta ng Pilipinas. Ito yung tinatawag na North Equatorial Current. Humahampas yon sa Philippine Rise area. Pagdating sa Philippine Rise area, it splits into a northern current, which is called the Crucio, and then meron ding pa-south, which is the Mindanao current. Sinusundan itong current na ito ng mga isda, katulad ng tuna, at ito ding mga current na to can influence local and regional climate. Kaya ito pinag-aaralan ng maraming bansa, kasi mahalaga siya sa klima, sa aspeto bale ng climate change. Yung lakas at position nitong mga current na ito ay nagbabago-bago. Sa isang tanong ay, kung sila ay nagbabago-bago, well, what variability do these large-scale circulation features impart on the pelagic and coastal fisheries? Yung pelagic, yun yung nandun mismo sa open ocean, at yung coastal fisheries, ito yung madaling abutin ng mga mangingisda natin doon sa coastal towns. Next, please. And isang malaking tanong bale, at palagi ang sagot dito ay oo, are there bioactive or novel compounds that can be derived from the biota of the Philippine Rise? So this is certainly a researchable area. Are gas hydrates present or abundant in the Philippine Rise? Meron ng mga initial data na meron, pero ang tanong, saan sila exactly, gaano kadami, at ito ba ay economically viable? Ano ba yung mga metallic sources na nasa Philippine Rise? In areas across the Pacific with similar geologic setting, it has been proven or it has been shown that there are mineral resources that are available there. Yung isang mahalaga na grupo ng mineral resource are what we call the rare earth elements na importante sa industriya ng mga metals. And then what and where are the potential sources of geologic hazards? Kailangan natin itong malaman for our own safety. Next, please. Ano ang kailangan? And I hope that this can be addressed. So at least this is just for MSI. We need at least 10 faculty items additional, at least 4 in the physical sciences. This is the plan for the next 5 or 7 years. We need full-time researchers. Ang lahat po ng researchers namin ay project-based. At nagpapasalamat kami sa DOST for providing us funding to do what we're doing, to DENR through the Office of Director Lim, through DA Bar, who's also able to extend funds to us. Pero lahat po ng researchers namin ay part-time, hindi part-time, contractual. Paano kami na faculty sasakay habang kami nagtuturo kung ang length of cruise ay, say, 45 days? But we'd go out on our own cruises, typically yan, mga 2 weeks, or we divide it into legs para kami pwedeng magpalitan. We certainly need full-time technicians. Ang technicians namin ay kami din mismo, kami na mismong researcher, kami din ang technician, kami din ang nagte-train sa contractuals na after a few years, they leave for other things kasi we cannot offer an item to these people. We need platforms for doing the type of work that needs to be done in the deep ocean. Iba ang trabaho sa mababaw na dagat, iba ang trabaho sa malalim na dagat. At present, we have BRP Velasquez that can do this for us, pero sana'y ma-extend din ang tulong sa Navy para ito ay maging in tip-top shape with the right crew trained to do scientific work. Next, please. Budget. Kung gusto po natin ng full-fledged na marine science work sa ating EEZ, kailangan po natin, just for MSI, to extend our work in addition to funds that we are able to get from the different funding agencies, we need at least around 20 million per year. MSI cannot do it on its own. MSI will have to partner with other HEIs, and I suppose that the other NGAs will have their own budgets to do this work. We need at least 200 million per year. If we want to accelerate the development of marine science in the country, we need to be aggressive in capacitating our people. And so we're proposing a program that can offer scholarships within the country for 20 students taking their masters and for 5 PhD students per year for the next 7 years. This will need something like 222 million for that entire 7 years. And to accelerate the process a little bit more, we have to send the people out. Ako ay produkto ng isang scholarship. Si Kay is also a product of a scholarship. We studied abroad. Nakafocus ang estudyante, and we work with laboratories that are probably the best in the world, and then they would come back and bring their expertise, and we need a budget of roughly 300 million. For this PhD students, pwedeng nakafocus ang kanilang trabaho sa open ocean or deep sea work para pagbalik nila, salpak, kasama nila bale yung mga scholars na in-country. We can work together in any part of the country. Next, please. We need, although we have a BRP Velasquez, it is an old ship, and certainly we can still probably extract a few years of good work from that ship, but perhaps this is a good time for the Philippines to think of having its own full-fledged research vessel, about 80 meters long, capacity of 2,000 to 2,500 tons, capable of sampling full ocean depths to 6,000 meters with all the instrumentation that can allow us to bring equipment to the seafloor, take samples from the seafloor, and then bring them up. With the dynamic positioning and Z-drive propulsion, ito po bale yung kakayanan na kapag tumigil yung barko, hindi siya nakaangkla, andun lang siya nananatili, it can maintain its position. The estimated budget for such a vessel is about 2.5 billion. Kasama na po dito yung mga instrumentation. But such a boat would need an annual operating or maintenance cost of about 250 million. Running a boat, tumatakbo pa lang siya, wala pang ibang ginagawa, per day can already come up to almost 500,000 pesos. Next, please. Okay. Wag na po ito. Hanggang doon na lang po ako sa
Thank you.
doon sa last slide. Maraming salamat.
Dr. Siringan. So, first question. Pag makuha niyo po lahat to, magagawa niyo na po lahat ng mga gawa ng ibang mga bansa. Is that correct?
Opo. Madami na po tayong nagagawa na ginagawa ng ibang bansa. Madami na rin tayong nagagawa na mas magaling pa tayo sa ibang bansa.
Can you tell me more about that, Dr. Siringan? Kasi I think nag-react yung mga Filipino scientists nung pinamuka na kulang yung kakayahan natin. So ano po ba yung kaya natin gawin? Ano po yung mas magaling pa tayo kaysa sa ibang mga dayuhan?
We have a very strong group of marine biology people. The Benham Bank cruise of 2014 and 2016, napakalaking component po bali nito ang marine biology. Dito bale ay merong aspeto ang marine biology na nangunguna tayo. In shallow water work, for example, our researchers are very much well known and respected for their work on coral reefs. Ang top ng Benham Bank, ito din po ay, meron din po siyang coral reef. Kakayanan na pag-aralan, we were able to send some divers who were able just to do bounce dives during 2014 cruise. In 2016, we had to hire technical divers. Kung gusto natin na pati yung ganong lalim ay kakayanin, kailangan po natin na matrain at ang mga tao, kailangan din natin ng gamit for deep sea diving. Po. Oceanography, maski na iilan lang, we're participating in many international efforts to do oceanographic work. As mentioned earlier, we have done work with US scientists dito po sa East Coast ng Pilipinas. At yung isa po na na-document na doon bale ay kung ano yung nangyayari sa tubig during times na parang equivalent sa El Nino period at La Nina period. Yung tinatawag natin na North Equatorial Current, nagbabago yung kanyang position, it can move up or it can move down latitudinally. At dahil sa movement na yon, nagbabago ang dami ng tubig galing sa Pacific na nakakapasok ng West Philippine Sea area. Nagbabago din ang lakas at dami ng tubig na pumupunta all the way to Japan, yung sa Kuroshio Current, at ganun din bale sa Mindanao Current. Bahagi or kasama ang mga Filipino scientists sa nag-aaral dito. Napag-aralan din ng Filipino scientists yung lakas ng mga current na pumapasok sa Surigao Straits at ng San Bernardino Straits. No? Sa kung ano ang available sa atin ay nagagamit natin ito.
So, inabagit po ninyo, yan yung mga larangan na may kakayahan po tayo and with the rest of the world, recognized po tayo na isa tayo sa mga nangunguna. No? Correct?
Sa marine biology po, opo.
Okay. Pero may mga areas pa rin na hindi natin kaya. Kung wala po yung supportang ito, hindi ho natin kakayanin yung mga areas na yon.
Opo, kasi walang gamit.
Okay.
No? Yung pong mga tao, ang mga tao can extend themselves and do
but
different
you can only
types
do
of
so
work.
much, no?
Opo.
Opo. So, we hope that the executive and the legislative can work together so we can provide support for you, no? Yung mga numero po, malalaki po yan, pero hindi naman ho yan 1-year use eh. Yung barko, baka 20 years naman po yan gagamitin kapag, ang isang barko po ba, ilang years ba? 10 years o 20 years?
Hindi po. Pwede pong magtagal ito ng mahigit 30 taon.
30 years,
Basta
no?
po na maintain. Pati naman po yung budget na yan, hindi naman po yun one time. Kasi
Opo.
para po gumawa ng isang research vessel, it may take 5 years.
Yes. So, in short, pwede nating hanapan ng paraan yan, Secretary, no? And there's a research side, but I think there's also a national security side to securing our own equipment. Sige po.
The Honorable Chairman, sabi nga ni Dr. Siringan, our Filipino marine scientists, although they're very few, have really a very high reputation worldwide. Ang dami nilang nagagawa. Kaya lang, kulang sila sa bilang. kulang din sila sa suporta, kulang din sila sa pinakitang gano'n. At wala din tayong mga research ship na talagang sapat ang instrumentation. Meron tayong RPS Velasquez sa Navy. Meron tayong research ship ng Namria. Namria, yung kasama ni Dr. J. Batumbakal na talagang gumawa ng Philippine Rise. Silang nanguna doon eh. Namria was the lead agency. Kinuha si Dr. J. Wala tayong mga barkong ganon. Ngayon, bakit kailangan tapatan din natin ng naval ships at saka aeroplano? And maybe UAV, ito na ngayon, because we have these modern technologies that would afford us better surveillance of the area. Ito na ngayon yung unmanned aerial vehicles. And we are exactly proposing that, Mr. Chair, in the budget, kasi budget cycle na ngayon. So talagang papasok kami. Salamat sa pagtawag ninyo ng hearing na to because it's their opportunity now to present what they need. Kami naman sa security side, it's also our opportunity to present to you what we need in terms of research ships, in terms of more naval capabilities and air capabilities, as well as Coast Guard.
Yes, sir. Definitely, we're all here to support, no? And ako nga po, hindi lang siya a matter of research. There are national security implications to having your own equipment, Secretary. Am I correct in saying that? For the record.
Yeah. For the record, kung tayo mismo nagre-research, then nasa atin yung data. Nasa atin yung data. But there are, of course, a lot of data that we should share with the international community in terms of fisheries, yung mga hydrographic data. Kailangan i-share din natin yan for the good of international shipping.
All right. Thank you, Secretary. Dr. Siringan, just some final questions, no? Ito pong, let's assume that we can get this funded. It will still take us a few years. Hindi naman ho bigla-bigla yan, no? Even if we have a boat commissioned, it will take 5 to 7 years, no? In the meantime, we need to partner with other countries. Ngayon ho ba, marami ho ba tayong choices dyan? Or is it really just China who can provide our needs? Or it's really up to us to decide kung sino po yung kapartner natin?
Well, unang-una po, meron po kaming nakuhang pondo sa UP mismo. Nagbigay ng pera, 30 million, for us to buy a small vessel, mga 30 meters long. Hindi pa po namin nabibili kasi yung procurement law natin. Nasa DBM po yung papers namin. Kung sana po matulungan kami, at ang isang malaking problema ng mga scientists ay yung procurement law. Yun pong presyo ng science sa Pilipinas.
Hindi lang po scientist, pati mga sundalo, mga guro, lahat po ata problema po yung procurement law.
Tanong ko po, bakit po natin pinapatay ang sarili natin dahil sa procurement law? At I have a simple-minded person. I don't know much about things that needs to be done pag sa mga bagay na yan. Pero yun lang ang tanong ko. Bakit natin pinapatay ang sarili natin dahil sa procurement law? We can do more science if we're able to buy the equipment on time. And with the budget that is being given to us, we can do more because we can buy more. Ngayon bale, yung presyo ng isang gamit na dodoble because of the procurement law. And that's killing us. And we're able to procure things after a year or even 2 years. Tapos na yung project, saka lang darating ang gamit. And it's killing us. Pero yun po.
Can you quickly answer my question, Dr. Siringan? Sa mga partners po natin ngayon, yung mga needs ho natin, maybe if we wanted to do this already this year, obviously we have to partner kasi yung pag-procure nga po niya napakatagal. Marami ba tayong choices of partners or China lang po yung choice natin?
Meron pong standing na memorandum of understanding ang MSI with KIOS, which is Korea. We have within UP ang NIGS as a memorandum of understanding with JAMSTEC, which is Japan-based. We have work, in fact, we have application for 2 cruises with the French group. So Hindi lang naman po China. Meron po. At iba't ibang bansa ay may iba't ibang interest din sa karagatan ng Pilipinas. So depende rin po sa interest nila.
And expertise.
Opo.
All right, thank you. Okay, just some final questions, no, regarding the naming issue, no. It was from the beginning, it's clear. Wala naman hong ibig sabihin yan pagdating sa teritoryo natin o sovereignty. It's just really a matter of honor and pride na meron tayong mga lugar sa ating bansa na ibang bansa yung nagpangalan, di ba? I mean, can you imagine if, you know, because these areas are part of our territory according to our constitution, no? So, kumbaga, yung mga lugar po sa Philippine Rise, parang rin yan mga lugar dito sa Pasay o sa Makati. Would we allow another country to name a barangay or a town here in the mainland? If we don't, or if we feel strongly that that shouldn't be the case, then we should also feel strongly about China naming territories within our sovereign rights. No? So, ASEC, we heard in the news that there already is that government has raised concerns already to China regarding the naming of these areas. Is that true? And are we doing something about it already, ASEC?
Thank you, Your Honor. The issue was raised again at the bilateral consultations mechanism.
And what was the response? Are they going to withdraw the naming of these areas to allow us to name these areas properly?
Thank you, thank you, Your Honor. The naming of undersea features is being done at the Subcommittee on Undersea Feature Names, SCAFIN, which is a subcommittee of the International Hydrographic Organization and IOC, International Oceanographic Commission. There are only 12 members. We're not part of this subcommittee. According to the rules and procedures of the SCAFIN, the names, when approved by the subcommittee and published in the JEBCO General Bathymetric Chart of the Oceans Gazette, it's final.
So even if China decides to withdraw, they cannot withdraw this already? Is that what you're saying, Asek?
It was not, there's no procedure actually, as I understand the procedures of SCAFIN, I'm not also an expert, that the decisions are final.
Attorney Jay, are you an expert regarding the naming, since you raised this also in the media? Do you concur na wala na rin tayong magagawa dyan sa pagpangalan ng mga teritoryo po natin?
Well, based on the material available from the website of SCAFIN, Asiki Paragiri is correct. There is no procedure that deals with the situation of reversal of a previous decision. See, the way I see it, the only possible avenue is to actually raise the issue or discuss it at the IHO level, no? Because this is a subcommittee, so go to the main organization. However, I'm not certain that that
maybe DFA is in a better position to respond. Will we take it up to the mother committee, ASEC, Lourdes?
It's being discussed at the Department of Foreign Affairs,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Maybe in our next hearing, you can be more definitive, no, kung ano po yung gagawin ho natin dyan. Well, considering that, Secretary, no, we have better relations with China, maybe they will agree to withdraw these names. After all, it is clearly undisputed areas already, Secretary.
It would be, Your Honor, it would be unlikely that they will withdraw the naming, considering that, for one, it would have been the fruit of the labor of some scientists. So, as we said, they can be given the honor. In the same manner that Benham Rise was named after the man who discovered the feature, and we took the executive action that we renamed it to Philippine Rise, then that's also an area that we could explore.
So we can name it ourselves, kumbaga.
As I said, that is an area that we could explore. If Seamount Jijiao is there now, what prevents us, for example, from renaming it to Yakal? Because as
that was the plan.
That was the plan before. Molabe Spar, for one, which is part of the Philippine Rise, is named Molabe for our indigenous trees. So, Jijaw, kung yun ang pangalan, pwede naman pangalanan yan, and we can consider it, renaming it, for example, Yakal, or Nara, or what, indigenous tree. Kasi doon din naman sa ibang lugar natin, yung halimbawa, Pag-asa Island is also known as Tito Island. May mga iba-ibang pangalan yan, depending on who named them. Like, yung Mischief Reef, ang pangalan natin doon is Panganiban Reef. So, yung Lawak ay mayroon ding English na pangalan. May pangalan ding Chinese yon. So, it is in the realm of possibilities. But what is important really to emphasize here is, whatever is the name of this unnamed before, heretofore unnamed features is, if they are named because of some research by for example, Chinese, it doesn't give them jurisdiction or sovereignty.
But let me point out lang, Secretary, that research was illegal. It's illegal because that was done in 2004 when we didn't issue them any permits.
That's really one point where we could point out an issue that you did that when you were not issued permits.
Oh, so in short.
But we do not have to go to some discussions anymore about with China for that matter. We can simply take some executive action as we did in the Philippine Rise. E di sabihin natin, nalaman na nila Namria, sina Executive Director Karandang, nung pumunta sila dyan, makita na nila yan. Papangalanan sana yan, pero hindi na pangalanan. O di ngayon, pangalanan na.
On that note, did we publish anything with that initial survey? Alam ko wala tayong sinabit na request for naming, but have we published anything to that effect just to prove that we discovered it first?
Just taking off, sir, from Secretary Speron's contribution. With respect to the naming of features, the issue of the survey being without the permission or illegal as far as we're concerned, that can be one of the arguments that we can take to the IHO if we want to try to bring it up to the organization level. That could be one argument for us to use to try to convince them to disapprove or reverse the decision. However, with respect to the other unnamed features, of which there are many, after all, this is only 5, but our detailed map of the area will probably show more, not just mountains, but also valleys and terraces, etc. There are many of those. What I would suggest is that the Namria be given the wherewithal to actually go ahead and start doing what they originally wanted to do, which is to provide all the names for all of these features.
On that note, si Captain Katapang is here. Captain, are we pursuing naming the rest of the areas? No? Alam ko may 5, naunahan tayo, pero yung rest of the areas po, what are we doing about it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Your Honor. In our case, we are presently we do not recognize those names, just like the position of the government, based on 3 points. First, this submission, as we are aware, the international concern for naming undersea features is limited to those features entirely or mainly more than 50% outside the external limits of the territorial sea, not exceeding 12 nautical miles from the baselines in agreement with the UNCLOS. Although the subject proposals are in conformity with this, the way the submitted data were collected is not in accord with the UNCLOS, since China was not granted consent by the Philippine government.
Tama nga. So, one of the issues nga is because wala silang permiso nung ginawa nila yung research, therefore, hindi nila pwedeng pangalanganan itong mga lugar na to. Is that correct, Captain?
Yes, Your Honor. And then second point, Mr. Chair, under the procedures for naming features of publication B6, Article D states there is significant benefit to be gained from mutual consultation by all interested parties in preparing and submitting proposals to ESCAPEN. National naming authorities are encouraged to consult on undersea feature names in their mutual areas of interest prior to submitting proposals to ESCAPEN. As far as we know, there was no consultation made before the submissions of the proposals to ESCAPEN. Furthermore, there is also a violation in the SCAPEN Rules of Procedure, specifically Article 2.1, which states that the subcommittee will not consider undersea feature names proposals that are politically sensitive. So we can consider these proposals as such, considering our dispute with China over the West Philippine Sea. And of course, as a result of the recent arbitral tribunal ruling on South China Sea.
So, Captain, this is the official position of NAMRIA.
So we asked our requested DFA to request SCAPEN for the nullification of the decisions of the approval of those
Of the naming.
name
Okay.
features.
Ang NAMRIA po is part of DENR, is that correct?
Attached agency of the DNR.
Okay, and you sent
Your Honor.
this already to the DFA for their determination to decide whether it will be the official position or not.
Yes,
Because tama,
yes,
tama
Your
naman, no?
Honor. We have-
ASEC, is that the proper procedure?
We just received a copy now.
Okay. Today nyo lang
Thank you.
nakuha. Okay. O sige. So you will have to deliberate among yourselves if you can use this position of NAMRIA as the official country position.
We will be discussing it, of
Yes,
course.
you'll have to
in the
deliberate on
department. Mr. Chair, I have to clarify that my little knowledge of the SCAPEN procedure for approving naming proposals, they do not approve naming proposals if these are undersea features located in the territorial sea. So that means the country proponent, the state proponent, needs to discuss it with the National Administration Board or the naming authorities of the coastal state. But under the rules procedures of SCAPEN, if these undersea features are in the EEZ and continental shelf, like as in Benham Rise, then it is silent. There are different domestic laws with regard to hydrographic surveys because to submit a naming proposal to SCAPEN, it has to be accompanied by certain data that are obtained through hydrographic surveys. So tingnan na naman po natin yung legal regime, I'm not a lawyer, on hydrographic surveys. So we look at UNCLOS, hydrographic survey, there is no exact definition on hydrographic survey. It is not even found in part 13 on marine scientific research. So again, it's silent, whether it's part of marine scientific research. It is mentioned on in the provision on innocent passage in the territorial sea, to the extent that this survey is required for safety of navigation. Then we look at our domestic law. Under PD 5099, series of 1979, we do not allow research or surveys in our EEZ without Philippine consent. If we look at the laws of China, way back 2002, they also have a law which prohibits hydrographic surveys and other research in their exclusive economic zone. If we look at the laws of the US and the UK, hydrographic survey in EEZ is permissive because it's part of freedom of navigation.
Yes.
So there are different legal regimes.
But if you're talking legal regime, the two countries in question's legal regime then comes to the fore. Kasi ba't natin titingnan yung batas ng Amerika o batas ng Europa kung yung dalawang bansa naman na nagtatalo, Pilipinas at China. Both of us have the law na hindi pwede gawin yan within the EEZ. That's correct, ma'am, no? So, siguro naman, we just expect each country to follow its own laws. Now, again, as you said, you'll have to discuss this. Ngayon yun lang po nakuha yung papeles ng NAMRIA. But we're hoping that, you know, we can really overturn ito pong pagpangalan sa ating lugar. No? I understand, maybe in the end, baka sabihin ho ng iba, para saan pa, pangalan lang yan, di ba? But, you know, we've already given up so much. considering na may military bases na po tayo within our EEZ. Siguro naman itong area pong ito na undisputed, iiwan na lang po siguro sa Pilipinas, no, to name. And sa totoo lang, no, again, this probably has no bearing scientifically, pero yung tuktok pa talaga yung pinangalanan, di ba? Eh yung tuktok po, yun talaga yung, I mean, that's so symbolic of the area, yung pinakatuktok ng Philippine Rise, no? Yun yung pinangalanan. That's not correct, Secretary?
Seamounts that were named are not the
Summit?
the Benham Bank itself.
No, yung tuktok po, yung highest point, no? Is that correct? That was your presentation, Professor Batong Bakal.
The bank is separate because it's like a separate seamount, no? Pero yung kung titignan po natin yung buong rise, yung gitna niya na natuturing nating summit, no? Nandun po yung dalawang napangalan.
Yung pinangalan ng China dun sa summit pong yun?
Yung Jeju Seamount tsaka Chuchao Hills.
Okay, Chuchao Hills and
Jeju Seamount.
Jeju Seamount. Okay, I hope I said that properly, no? But anyway, Asek, sa mga susunod na araw, we hope that you can give us good news that DFA will fight for these areas. Anyway, mukhang meron naman tayong rason, no? I mean, legally, to overturn this decision. We hope that you can undertake this. And of course, if China is willing to, willing to withdraw, after all, di ba magkaibigan na tayo ngayon, Secretary?
Very much improved yung ating relation.
Oh, that this can be a sign of goodwill, no? Okay, so thank you very much, sir. No? Let me just wrap up with some of these questions from our audience and from social media, no? Okay, mga nasagot na po itong lahat. Okay, parang lahat naman nasagot na. Can we clarify if we are still accepting marine research applications or not? We got it that MR applications from other countries have been stopped. This was the President's statement, I think, no? Could we clarify that, Secretary, finally? Nung nabanggit po ni Presidente na wala ng marine research, meron pa po bang marine research sa Philippine Rise o wala?
There are no ongoing marine scientific researches that have been permitted by us. There were approved ones, but they could have been already finished. Tapos na lahat yung mga research na yun. There are 4 pending applications. One from France, two from France, one from US, and another one. Those are pending, so they will go through the new rules that we have.
Hindi naman ho kayo against, no? In fact, kailangan natin ng partners. Is that correct, Dr. Siringa and Dr. Villanoy?
Opo. Kailangan natin ng partners kasi may mga bagay na hindi natin pa kayang gawin on our own. At sa mga bagay na yon, then definitely doon po tayo open na magkaroon ng mga
partners. But we need partners who will follow our rules.
Well, meron naman po tayong rules at bahagi po kami nung sa technical working group. At ito po ay through the years ay naka-clarify. Mas dumadami na po yung mga requirements na hinihingi sa kanila.
Okay. I think doon naman tayo babagsak, di ba?
Mr. Chair,
yes, Secretary.
If I may just add, for example, the Dresne, the friendship, that was in fact the first contact is actually the science community. Sa kanila nagaling yun. After the contact with the science community, now they're applying. So they are already anticipating that their team will be called upon to join the marine scientific research.
Just to be clear, no, my position as chairman of the committee is not to ban this joint research. Kailangan natin yan eh. Kasi sayang naman kung maghihintay pa tayo ng 5 taon bago natin magawa yan on our own. But it's about finding the right partners. Partners who will follow our rules, no? And maybe with the new bilateral talks with China, maybe they have already professed to start following our rules. But we need to be strict with everyone, no? Kailangan stricto tayo. Kung may hindi sumusunod sa mga patakaran natin, kailangan tayong malinaw na hindi tayo makikipag-partner sa mga pasaway, di ba? Pero kung sumusunod naman, why not? Now, not each country is equal because there are very few countries where we have territorial disputes. In fact, is it just China or also with other countries na meron din po, no?
If we consider the issue of Sabah, That would be
Malaysia.
with Malaysia. And overlapping claims in the West Philippine Sea, and that would be Vietnam,
Yes.
Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, China, as well as Taiwan.
So it's a case-to-case. It's a case-to-case basis, no? To who to partner with. Sino yung magandang kapartner natin, no? And this does have national security implications, Secretary. And I'm sure part of your guidelines will include this determination. Hindi lang naman po purely science yung guidelines nyo. May kasamang national security implications, Secretary. And then,
Of course, the science is a part of our national interest, but we have other interests in the name of national security.
Opo. General, you wish to say something?
Yes, Your Honor. While we are discussing, sir, yung a lot of issues governing the Philippine rice management and other exploration like the maritime research, all these issues, sir, is transcends not only in the purview of maritime security, but also goes beyond military, socioeconomic, and others. That's why we need a unified actions in achieving all our objectives, not only the maritime research. That's why the National Task Force Western Philippine Sea has tasked in particular the Area Task Force North to orchestrate and synchronize the efforts in the different component of the government.
Ang sinasabi niyo po, General, hindi lang science or research yung concern. There are overarching concerns, no? May economic, may national defense. Yung mechanism po ninyo na task force, that is supposed to consolidate and coordinate all of these efforts.
Yes po, yes po.
So pag nagde-decide po tayo, hindi lang tayo nakatingin sa isang larangan, nakatingin po tayo sa holistic perspective nitong actions with regard to our national interest.
Precisely po. That's why we need not only to look at the requirements of the maritime research, but also we need to look at the requirements of the different agencies, the BFAR, the
Yes.
Navy, the armed forces in particular, to be able to support those maritime research or other activities in the Philippine Rise. For example, we need a maritime research vessel for the other agencies. We need also a port that will support this maritime research. The nearest port that we have is the port of Irene, which is
sa Cagayan.
very far from the Philippine Rise. And if you need really to support other activities, not only the maritime research surveys, we need to establish a very good port for our Navy also, or for that matter, for other agencies to be able to support our exploration or expedition in the Philippine Rise.
So kailangan ho natin ng specific port for this.
We need a rotational presence of our Navy, of course, these maritime research vessels. So we need a proximate port or seaport so that they can call and support yung sustainment effort of our expedition.
Where would you suggest po? Sa Aurora ba? Yung pinakamalapit?
Meron po tayong mga workshop na ginagawa in the Luzon Command. Na-identify natin yung other gaps natin, like yung kasiguran, we can develop the kasiguran areas for our yung port facilities and other facilities that support yung mga ganitong activities po.
Is that in your position paper, General? Nagsabit ho ba kayo ng position paper ninyo?
Meron po tayo.
And nakadetalye na po yan dito?
Hindi namin naisama yung mga ganun. But we will try to include po dyan sa
pakihabol po kasi I intend that the output of this hearing, we can detail ano yung mga pangailangan ng iba't ibang ahensya para ma-maximize ho natin yung Philippine Rise. Maybe lessen our dependence in the long term. No? In the short term, partnerships seem to be the best way. But in the long term, we should be building our own capacity. No? On that note, ASEC, I'd like to ask, so we established from the beginning na lahat ng resources, pag usaping resources, kailangan po ng permiso ng ating bansa. If we were to undertake joint exploration or exploitation of the area, that would require a treaty, no? If it is done with another country. Is that correct?
I think it would require a memorandum of agreement to conduct these activities.
Kung exploration na po tsaka exploitation of natural resources, shouldn't that require a treaty? Or are we saying it only requires a memorandum of agreement?
It can be a commercial agreement if there is no dispute.
Sorry, what do you mean, ho?
So it could be like in the case of Malampaya. Our agreements are with Shell and another oil company.
Meaning it is a private
commercial.
company,
Yes.
not another country.
Yes.
But if it is another country, you need a
An
treaty,
agreement on that.
an agreement, no?
It may take another commercial agreement utilizing companies that are from both countries. So it depends. It would have to be explored. It can be a treaty, it could be a commercial agreement.
May I ask Asek Ergiza, napag-uusapan na po ba to? Kasi I'm sure when we talk about resources, eventually we talk about exploration and natural gas and all of this. If we were to undertake that in the Philippine Rise, what form of agreement would that be?
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. Yun po sanang nais kong idagdag kanina. Kasi talking of territorial and sovereign rights, isang mainit na usapin dito yung ating petroleum, oil, and gas resources. No? At first, going to the intention of today, sa research, wala po tayong, kailangan din natin ng ship kasi for us to be able to determine kung merong presence ng oil and gas, kailangan natin mga seismic vessels. And so, in connection with that, we are studying now using the Malampaya Fund to buy this kind of vessel. And number two, in terms of human capacity, training, etc. po, wala tayong talagang detailed and specific program para sa petroleum engineering. Although ang meron ho ngayon ay sa Batangas State University and sa Palawan State University kasi nandun noong Malampaya Fund. Right now po, sa issue ng mga exploration, ang ginagawa po natin dyan dito na procedure is nabibigay tayo ng service contract sa mga different companies that offer. And this service contract po is premised on the fact that the Philippines is a sovereign owner of this.
Okay, when we say service contract, we hire another company to do the exploration for us.
Nag-apply na sila na they do the exploration and development. And for example, like in Malampaya, we have Chevron and Shell doing who did the exploration and now the development and the extraction of this gas at may sharing ho ngayon between the Philippine government and the private company.
And that deal was done between a country, a sovereignty, and private corporations.
And private corporation.
Okay. So therefore, a service contract was what was required.
Opo, opo.
All right. If the exploration is done with another country, it may necessitate a treaty.
Sa amin po hindi pa nangyayari, but we have the DFA as the lead agency.
ASEC, is that a correct assessment of the matter?
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on the previous arrangement for survey of the resources in the part of the West Philippine Sea between the Philippines, China, and Vietnam, it was called a Memorandum of Undertaking to conduct the seismic survey in the area. But of course, that particular undertaking was brought to the Supreme Court because it was deemed to be unconstitutional.
Because it required a treaty.
Not exactly the form, but because the Constitution requires that I think exploration, utilization, development of our natural resources are reserved exclusively for Filipinos.
Oh, okay. So
all of these requirements in the Constitution, but the undertaking, the MOU has expired way back 2008, and up to now there has been no decision by the Supreme Court.
Right. So in short, what you're saying, maybe a partnership with a private corporation, which has already been done, might have less complications in terms of the legal nature of this partnership. Kasi yung Malampaya po was with private gas corporations. Tama ho, no? If we were to explore or use the natural resources of Philippine Rise, that might be a better way forward.
Yes.
That will have less complications with our Constitution.
Opo. Yes, Your Honor. The Malampaya, of course, arrangement is a model for such undertakings. Thank you po.
Let me thank everyone for coming. I think at the minimum, naging mas malinaw tayo sa mga nangyayari. Kahit yung mga terms man lang, at least naging mas malinaw rin. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Let me just ask one round lang. Does anybody want to have a final statement? Anyway, mag-1 o'clock na rin. Baka po merong... Dr. Hilde, no, I was not able to call you. I know that you're also very active in this issue. Would you wish to... I'll give you the last word. No? Kung wala na hong ibang gustong magsalita, Secretary, would you want to have the final statement?
We would rather, we have said our piece, we would rather that the scientific community.
Yes, Dr. Nacorda will give you the final word.
Dr. Nacorda. They have their position papers, I think. Yes.
Baka may spokesman kayo, si Director Ebora na lang ho. Okay. Sige po, Dr. Ebora, you have the final word.
Hapon po. Nais lang po namin ipaabot sa lahat na ang DOST ay handa na magbigay ng pakikiisa sa pagsasagawa ng mga pananaliksik tungkol sa Benham Rise at sa West Philippine Sea. Sa katunayan po, ang department ay sa pamamagitan ng kanyang dalawang council, ang Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources, Research and Development, at ang Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, Research and Development, or PHL, ay naglaan ng pondo para sa pananaliksik mula 2018 hanggang 2021 para masagawa mga pag-aaral na isasagawa ng UPMSI at ng iba pang mga state universities and colleges na involved sa pag-aaral na ito. Maraming salamat po.
Dr. Ebora, no? Yes. This all started because the scientific community felt that they wanted to speak out and say na ang Filipino scientists natin may kakayahan na magsagawa nito. Maybe to an extent, and to the next extent, kailangan ng konti pang suporta. Tanggap naman ho natin yon. But could you speak about the capabilities of our Filipino scientific community? Maybe just to end this part of the hearing.
Wala pong duda na ang mga Filipino scientists ay highly capable. Wala rin pong duda na ang mga Filipino scientists ay may kakayahang gumawa ng pananaliksik na world class. Kailangan po nila ang buong suporta, hindi lamang ng Department of Science and Technology, kundi ang mga iba pang department. Mapalad po tayo na mayroon tayong buong suporta sa Department of Environment and Natural Resources, sa Department of Agriculture, sa pamamagitan ng Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, at higit sa lahat ang malinaw na guidance galing sa Department of Foreign Affairs. Kailangan po siguro ang lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno ay magtulong-tulong para matulungan ang mga scientista natin, ang scientific community, na magawa ang dapat nilang magawa. At siguro kailangan din po nating tingnan yung mga policy na nagiging hadlang para maging epektibo ang pananaliksik ng mga scientists natin. Nabanggit po kanina yung procurement law. Isa po itong malaking tulong kung magagawan to ng paraan sa lalong madaling panahon. Dahil marami pong mga resources ang nasasayang, maraming oras din ang nawawala at hindi nagiging produktibo dahil sa napakahaba ng proseso sa procurement. Kung ito po ay magagawa ng paraan, malaking tulong po ito sa scientific community. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Secretary.
Mr. Chair, thank you for this opportunity. As the chairman of the National Task Force on the West Philippine Sea, I have also been given an oversight over the Philippine Rise area, insofar as harmonizing the requirements for this area. This is because agencies would have their respective recommendations. For example, the Bureau of Fisheries rightfully would need unmanned aerial vehicles. But the Philippine Air Force would need that too. So shall we go for one procurement for this agency and another one for this, or we simply harmonize things? Like Philippine Coast Guard needs a station, a Coast Guard station somewhere in Atimunan or in Casiguran. So the Philippine Navy needs another one too. So where do we put it? I mean, if we fulfill all the requirements of all the other agencies, it will be good if we have all the resources. But as I said, I have been given the task to harmonize the requirements so that it will also be economical for the government. Walang duplication, but there could be duplications because sometimes we need redundancy, but it should not be the rule. The rule should be optimum utilization of all our assets, including our equipment and of course our scientists.
Thank you, Secretary. Maraming salamat doon, and we'll continue to work with everyone to ensure that these resources are there. I'm sure mga galing po yan sa inyo, Secretary, sa DBM, but definitely when it gets here, as Vice Chairman of Finance handling the DOST budget, now we can see how we can support. And the UP Marine Science Institute budget is under UP, if I'm not mistaken, no? Kasama ho kayo sa items ng UP. So pwede ho natin tingnan yan. Si Ma'am nakatingin. Kami ba? Wala. Diba? Of course, DNR din, before NAMRIA, lahat ng mga ahensyang kailangan masuportahan, no? We will definitely support. And I think, you know, we can make this a case where our Filipino scientists are at the forefront of really trying to see what are the resources that we can see here. Hindi lang siya oil and gas. I think the discussion always goes back to oil and gas. Pero pure scientific research which can benefit humanity, I think that's what Dr. Siringan and Villanoy were mentioning. That marami talagang pwedeng makuha sa area na to. Hindi lang yung hard resources, pero pati yung mga kaalaman na makakatulong sa ating mundo. And after all, this is undisputed. This is our territory. Wala hong ibang nagsasabi na kanila ito. Nasa atin na po yan, how to maximize these resources. We are in a position to invest, I think, no? Secretary. Economy is doing well. Mas may pondo tayo. Lahat ng hiningi ng armed forces, I think, binigay naman. In this case, probably we will have to make that extra effort to also support our scientists, our armed forces to ensure that we maximize this area. Huwag ho nating sayangin ang lugar na to. At kung meron man tayong mga hindi magandang nakaraan, eh maganda ho siguro ma-implement po natin ang mas striktong pagmamanage itong area na to para masigurado rin ho natin na yung national security natin hindi rin po mapeperwisyo, no? So, let me thank everyone. We suspend the hearing. Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.